This is Gareth Southgate, and this is the Three Lions podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Three Lions podcast. My name is Russell Osborne and this is an independent England supporters podcast. Now I hope you've enjoyed the recent episodes that I've put out there, be it the Player of the Year one, there was the Lionesses review, or the second part of my chat with England fan Brian Wright. Those and all the other episodes are available at threelionspodcast.com or your chosen podcast provider. This episode, we are back on the World Cup qualification hunt. If all goes to plan and our way, we could be looking at booking tickets to Qatar in the not too distant future. On Thursday, the 30th of September, Gareth Southgate announced his latest squad. We will check that out soon, as Andorra and Hungary are on the horizon as our opponents. Of course, both fairly familiar to us as we only played them at the beginning of September. Back-to-back 4-0 victories. Of course, there was the win in Budapest that was marred by the racist taunting that Hungary have since paid for with a stadium ban. And then, of course, there was the Wembley win over Andorra, where Jesse Lingard put us ahead early. And then it was a Harry Kane penalty. Lingard got another one, and Bukayo Saka scored late to great applause. There was also the sad news that following the passing of Jimmy Greaves, his 1966 World Cup teammate, Roger Hunt, has passed away. He passed on Tuesday the 28th of September, and we'll pay tribute to him also in this episode. Now, Andorra away is the first time England fans have been officially admitted to a stadium as away fans. The first time since Kosovo in 2019. What a trip that was. The England Travel Club announced that 5,597 Travel Club members applied to go to this game. To put that into context, the ground in Andorra, the new one, only holds 3,306. So it was clear that you were going to need a fair few loyalty caps behind you to be able to get in for this one. The Travel Club, they've done a great job in securing 993 tickets for what will be the sixth occasion we've played Andorra. Now, it got me thinking there will be a small, not quite sure how small, but there will be a small select group of fans who will be able to say that they've been to all six of those fixtures since our first meeting in 2006, which was at Old Trafford. So there was one at Old Trafford, there was two at Wembley, there was two at Espanyol's ground in Barcelona, and now this most latest one, the sixth one, will be in Andorra. Who's been to all six? From a personal point of view, I just missed the cut. If I'd have been to Bulgaria away, I think, which was the last match I missed, I would have been fine. Shame. It is what it is. Now, although I do know a lot of people will travel regardless, but from my own perspective, it would frustrate the hell out of me being there but not being able to be inside the ground. And hey, each to their own. Now, obviously, the team will be there. And as I say, on the last day of September, Gareth Southgate announced his squad for both Andorra and Hungary. So let's have a look at his 23 picks. That's right. We are back down to 23 players now. Let's start with the goalkeepers, three of them. Sam Johnston, Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale. Defenders, Connor Cody, Reece James, Tyrone Mings, Luke Shaw, John Stones. Fikayo Tomasz is back after 2 years. His last place in an England squad was back in that Kosovo game 2 years ago. Kieran Trippier and Kyle Walker. In the midfield, Phil Foden is back, Jordan Henderson, Jesse Lingard, Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. And up front, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka, Jadon Sancho, Raheem Sterling and Ollie Watkins returns. A squad with an average age of 25 and a half years, 595 caps between them, 85 goals. Of course, 41 of those belong to Harry Kane. Some other little facts and figures. The oldest player, Kyle Walker, and the youngest one is Bukayo Saka. Most experienced, well, you can look at this one of two ways. Raheem Sterling has 70 caps. Jordan Henderson has 66, but he made his debut back in 2010 against France, 17th of November 2010, when we lost 2-1 there. On the teams represented in this squad, Manchester City, they got 5. Manchester United have got 3. Chelsea, Villa and Arsenal have got 2 players each. And then West Brom, West Ham, Leeds, Spurs, Everton, Wolves, Liverpool, and then the 2 overseas teams, AC Milan and Atletico Madrid. They've all got 1 player each. Just looking back, maybe over the last squad, of course, Patrick Bamford was in that one. Gareth has chosen not to select him this time around. Harry Maguire is out with a calf injury. Trent Alexander-Arnold is out with a groin injury. Nick Pope has been replaced by Aaron Ramsdale, of course, who has recently signed for Arsenal and has been doing well there. No Jude Bellingham, no Mason Greenwood. When quizzed about this, Gareth Southgate said that obviously he knows their capabilities, but understood that they've got a lot of games coming their way and they are obviously still very young. They've been in communication with their clubs, their families, obviously about just how many games they're generally playing. And the same went for Emil Smith-Rowe. Again, a young player who's doing particularly well for Arsenal at the moment, but he didn't discount them. And at the end of the day, it's a squad of only 23 players. There's only so many players that you can fit in this squad. There's only 11 players that can start the game. So they'll come for the future, guaranteed. But it's good to see Fikayo Tomasz back. I guess with Harry Maguire out, he will stand a good chance of playing in one of these 2 games, but also in Italy. Don't forget, we've got Tammy Abraham at Roma, and also alongside him, Chris Smalling. Remember him? But yes, these are, of course, the players selected for the games against Andorra on Saturday, the 9th of October, and then England against Hungary at Wembley on Tuesday, the 12th. The squad is obviously picked before the weekend's Premier League fixtures of the 2nd and 3rd of October, or Matchday 7, as they now like to call it. Just another one of those new terminologies that have crept in that annoy me. But that's just a personal thing. We'll see how many players may pick up an injury here or there, and where I may just have to edit a few names in. And here it is, as predicted. This is the edited bit. We got through the weekend fairly unscathed, but I mentioned Tammy Abraham. On Monday the 4th, he was called in, as was Ben Chilwell, who replaces Reece James, who supposedly was injured. And it caused a bit of an issue with Tomasz Tuchel, the Chelsea manager, who was quoted as saying the call-up was a misunderstanding. He said, "When I saw it, I thought that maybe Reece goes with the water polo team for England, because right now he trains in the pool," he joked. "So I was a bit surprised, but I understood that he was selected for the football team. This will not happen because Reece is training in the pool right now. So my understanding, my last information, is that he will not go. So that can only be a misunderstanding. Nothing else," says the Chelsea manager. So Tammy Abraham and Ben Chilwell came in, Reece James went out. And then Tuesday the 5th, Leeds United's Calvin Phillips withdrew injured, and he was replaced by Southampton's James Ward-Prowse. So Abraham, Chilwell and Ward-Prowse in, Reece James, Calvin Phillips are out. Right, time to have a chat with a few people who know more about Andorra and Hungary than I do. Now, let's chat with Ivan Moure. He is the press manager for the Andorran national team. And I'm glad to say he joins us now on the Three Lions podcast. Hello, Ivan.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much for joining me. I know you're a busy man at the moment.
Yes, the last days we receive a lot of requests from England. Of course, that match is so big for us. England is, of course, one of the best teams in Europe. So the work here for that match is incredible. These days, the last days, I receive a lot of requests of press and also for fans that want to come here to see the match, and it's incredible.
Well, I mean, first of all, as press manager, what does your job entail? What do you do for it?
Okay, I don't do a job. I do a lot of jobs. One of them is to organize the press tribune, for example. And imagine in every match for the national team, I receive maybe 10 journalists and maybe 5 or 6 photographers, okay? Be careful, because for that match, I receive 30 requests from England,
right?
Maybe 10 from Andorra, as usually, and I receive another 20, 25 requests from other countries of Europe. The dimension of that match is not usual for us as a hosting team. We are not. We don't usually work with that volume.
Right.
But I have to prepare another things like, for example, okay, the schedule for press, the match day before to the press conference, the time is that one, the official training is the other one. I need to inform every journalist once about me, for example, interviews, for example, requests about what's the protocol of COVID. I have to give them all the info they need for covering that match.
Right.
Okay, we have a lot of meetings with UEFA, with the boss of every match of the hosting team or the organization is the VOBM. He's from UEFA and he coordinates all the areas. So we have a lot of meetings every day. We have meetings with him about how it's going on, all about media. Have to be in contact in all the moments, because in matches with the importance of England, it's a lot of people and it's not so easy to do all perfect. We need contact and communication in every second.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the football on the field. Obviously, the two teams met at the beginning of September. England won 4-0. What was the feeling in Andorra and from the players, the manager? What was the feeling after that? Because I thought Andorra held out quite well until the last 20 minutes of the game.
The feeling in England, we have two feelings, of course, because Andorra is one of the worst teams in Europe. We accept it, but we want to fight with our weapons, and we don't want to lose. We usually lose, and we know it, but we are not happy losing. We always are angry because we lose. But we have another point that we have to look, because it's obvious that we lose a match against every team we play in Europe. So it's nice for us to feel that we show a great match in a match. Against England, it's more important for us to compete, to fight against them, not to lose with 3-0 in the minute 15, because you can't compete, obviously, with that score. And to be alive more than 1 hour in England, for us, was incredible, of course.
Yeah.
We don't like to lose, but you have to understand that we don't like to lose. But of course, we have a lot of merit with 1-0 during more than 1 hour against England. And after we go to play against Hungary, is the last travel after playing in Andorra 3 days after play in England and 3 days after play in Hungary, you have to think that the Andorran players are not professional. So they don't usually fly and go to that point to play a match and get a plane again. No, they work here, they play here, and they are amateurs. So they are not. They don't usually do it. So they arrive very tired to Hungary.
Yeah.
And one thing that I feel in that match that I never feel with our team, with our national team, was in the minute 88, Andorra was throwing in fast and quickly and looking to score a goal that gives us the 2-2.
Yeah.
And usually we lose 2-0 against Hungary in the minute 88. We were losing 2-1 and the team was not tired. Obviously was tired, but they fight and they get strong and they throw in quickly and they go to the goal. That attitude, I couldn't see it never before.
Wow.
So I think the mentality of this team is changing. Now they believe that they can. And that's the difference that I think that we are assimilating for us.
I see. You said that you lose every game. That's not necessarily true because you had a great result against San Marino, didn't you?
Yeah, San Marino, we play an excellent win and it was not easy because it was the first time that the other team is not the favorite for the win, you know? Yeah. In that case, it was the first time in our history that Andorra, the other team, was not the favorite, you know? And it was because Andorra arrived to the draw in the Bombo 5 and not the 6. And thanks to victories like Hungary in 2097 and some results that led us to go to the Bombo 5 in the draw. And it permits us to get San Marino as a rival. San Marino was always in the same Bombo as Andorra. Obviously, was the last one. And there were Andorra, there were San Marino, and the teams that everybody knows. Yeah. And Andorra could, before that draw, to go to the Bombo 5 and not 6. And it permits us to play against a team with a similar level than us, you know. And it was not easy to get a win. And you have to think that Andorra always plays defensively, always let the other team get the ball. And in that match, it was all different. So Andorra needs to have the ball and needs to attack and things that never did it.
Yeah.
And to get a win obviously was logical, but you have to win.
Yes.
And it's not easy to win, you know.
No, you've done well. Well done.
Yeah.
Now,
I think the last week or that 3 matches during the first week of September were very important for us to believe that we can, of course. And we know England is coming here with the stars of the Premier. Wow. but we believe, of course. If we don't believe, we have a great problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We play football because we want to win.
Yeah. Well, you say that the England players are coming. Of course they are. But there's going to be obviously a lot of England fans travelling to Andorra to see the game. And this is the first time that England fans will have been to the Estadio Nacional. What is the stadium like? Well, give us a little insight for England fans coming.
What I think is that we need a lot of throats in Andorra. For say, let's go to our team, because you will be a lot of them encouraging England. So we need a lot of throats because you have an excellent fans that love football, fans that like football. And everybody now in football needs to feel it, need to go to the stadium and need to watch a match. Wow. What do you think? But don't you get excited now if you go to see a match?
Absolutely, yes,
with public, you know.
Now we can all go.
I'm working for football in Andorra. I was traveling during 2 years, practically 2 years, going with our national team to play in Lithuania and to play in other countries, and every stadium was empty. Yeah. And now we can go again to watch a match, and people get excited with that. People needs to go to a stadium to feel the football, you know, and it's fantastic. We know the England fans come here to Andorra, and they are so excited, and they want to say, "Let's go England," and to encourage your team. But it's nice. It's football. Yeah. Especially have prepared for England fans. We have prepared more near than 1,000 of entrants.
That's right.
And Estadio Nacional, the attendance is of 3,330 of spectators. So maybe one part of 3 will be of England supporters. It's because I say we need a lot of throats in Andorra.
Yes. I mean, it's a small stadium, and there are a lot of England fans coming who do not have tickets. Is there anywhere around the stadium that's not in the stadium that England fans can stand to see part of the pitch? Do supporters do that?
Okay, in that cases, usually the press officers of each national team get in touch and speak about things like that. Obviously, UEFA have a lot of meetings with the police of Andorra and other people that participate in the organization of a match here in Andorra. I really don't know about it, but we don't have any kind of fan zone here in Andorra ready for the English fans. If the press officer of the national team of England says us that X fans come here to Andorra and maybe it's a good idea to build a fan zone, we can study it, but we don't receive that notice. So we don't know about it. We suppose they will finish with all the beer in Andorra, I'm sure. And we know that it will be a lot of English people here in Andorra. That is a little country, and obviously it's a safe country. The police is ready. If a lot of people of England is here, I think you love football, you are fans, and you encourage. But we don't worry about it these days, but you know.
Rather than a fan zone, because looking at the pictures of the stadium, one end is sort of open. Is it? Can supporters without tickets see the game?
Okay, the stadium is near 2 buildings.
Yeah,
and people lives there.
Okay.
And in front of the stadium, in a goal, there is the Andorran television. So if you go to Andorran television, you can watch the match from there or from one of the buildings that are near the stadium.
It's just.
But if you don't go to the stadium, obviously you can't watch the match. We don't have a TV in a square or something like that, or a far zone for people from Andorra. Not because all the football lovers in Andorra goes to the stadium to watch that match. We don't need. We don't. The pubs are not full of people watching a match. It's different than England. You know, when England plays, everybody gets the TV on and looks the match because you can watch it in TV. In case of Andorra, it's not the same. The feeling is not the same. We don't have traditional habits than, for example, going to a pub to watch a match of the national team. It's not usual here.
Yeah. One other thing.
We don't feel the football, or the society doesn't feel the football. Obviously, than English people. That English people is the reference in the world. I think you have the best fans or maybe not fans. They are football lovers.
Yes,
they understand about football. Not everybody knows about football. People love football there. In England, football is a religion, and I feel it. I feel that England is the center of the world.
It's nice to hear. One more question.
Yeah.
One more question on tickets. Have you say that England fans have been given nearly 1,000 tickets? Obviously, there will be tickets on sale for home Andorra supporters in the home end. If England fans try to purchase tickets in the Andorra stand, in the Andorra end, will that be a problem? Will that be possible?
Yes, they can't. They can't get it.
Okay.
We have tickets for sale, but you need to show your passport or a national identity document, and you have to demonstrate that you live in Andorra, you are a resident in Andorra, or you are Andorran, or you are resident here. If you don't have the document, we don't give you the ticket. So if you are an English fan and you live in Andorra, it's perfect for you, because you can find a ticket here selling it in Andorra. But if you doesn't live here, you can't.
Yeah, no, I understand.
It's easy.
yeah, absolutely. You mentioned beer. Obviously, England fans do like a beer before the game.
Yeah.
What's Andorra like in for going for a beer? What sort of beers do you recommend? What sort of maybe food or sights and things to see before the game?
Really, I don't know what to recommend you, because
Andorra
is a little country, and the capital, Andorra la Vella, and another city or village, we say here, because it's a city, but it's very little, so you can say a village. The nearest village from the capital is Escaldes, and it's a union. When you walk in Andorra, you go from Andorra la Vella to Escaldes in the same street, so it's little Andorra, so you can go to every place you want. There's a lot of pubs here, places with fast food, Andorran food, Italian food, and you have all the variety you want. Yeah. And there is a pub called Candem that you can feel some smell to an English pub.
Okay.
So it's a good idea if you want to go, but you can go to a lot of pubs here. You can drink a beer when you want, because you are always near from the stadium.
Nice and compact.
Yes, no problem. Yes, a lot of You think you have to think we are a country of tourists, so we have a lot of food, and everything you need you can find it in Andorra.
I see.
It's obviously it's cheaper than countries, for example, Spain and France, that are near Andorra, and obviously also England.
Just finally, onto the actual game. Obviously, you're looking forward to it. And previously, where I've spoken with Ildefons Sola, he told us about Andorra expectations. But what would be a good result for Andorra in this game?
A good result can be a draw.
A draw, yeah.
An excellent result can be a win, and a bad result is sure a loss. And not more, like every team. when you play, you want to win. And if you win, you are very happy. If you draw, it depends on. But obviously, we are not the favorite team in that match. So a draw for us is good. And obviously, with a team like England, it's not only good; it's excellent. Yeah. If we don't lose, the result will be excellent for us.
Be a big party, will it?
Yes, and our goal in that match is to be competitive all the time we can. If we can arrive to minute 80 with 1-0 or with 0-0 or with a win, is that we want. We want to compete all the match if we can. And obviously we want to win, but we want to have the chance since the last minute with every team we play. And it's very, very difficult for a country like Andorra, believe me, because we have amateur players and when you see the other players, the players of the other teams, they are like planes, you know. They are strong physically, strong technically, strong in every areas a football player works, and not for a player in Andorra. We are worst in every area we train, so it's very difficult for us to be competitive during 90 minutes and to be competitive during 1 hour in Wembley against England is wow. I think it's wow.
Yeah. Ivan, thank you very much for your time and giving us that little insight.
Pleasure.
Into
You're
Andorra.
welcome. Good luck.
And you?
Not with that much, but I hope all the fans of England and of Andorra enjoy that match and enjoy football again. And let's go to the stadium, or if you can't, watch the TV, put on the radio, and feel football because we can live it again.
Now, Tomasz Mortimer is a Hungarian football writer for HungarianFootball.com, and we spoke last month ahead of the game in Budapest, and I'm pleased to say he joins us again this time around. Hello, Tom.
Hi, Russell.
Yeah, so the Hungary game has come around again. It seems ages ago since we played, since the game in Budapest, but yeah, it was only a month ago. And I was racking my brains. I seem to remember you saying you wondered if England would have had a sort of a post-Euros hangover. Didn't seem to be like that, did it?
No, I think the hangover was from the Hungarians, to be honest. Yeah. Like, it was miserable, that second half. The first half was a pretty drab game, both sides. But second half, England, just asserted their dominance, and Hungary completely fell apart and were just rubbish. To be honest, they were just rubbish.
I mean, I must admit, going into the game, or going into that whole 3 games, I was sort of very sceptical. Maybe there would have been a hangover. Obviously, I thought we'd get something out of the Andorra game, but Hungary and Poland, I thought we would struggle. And to be honest, 4-0 on foreign soil was not something I saw coming whatsoever. And I'm sure you've had your ear to the ground following that result. I mean, what happened?
Oh, yeah, I mean, 4-0 was probably quite flattering for Hungary as well, to be honest. Like, Gulácsi made in Hungarian goal, made a couple of howlers for 2 of the goals, but he also made a lot of saves in that game. Like, Harry Kane missed some good chances, and I think Raheem Sterling missed a couple. I mean, it genuinely could have been about 6 or 7 if Gulácsi hadn't bailed Hungary out despite making 2 really poor errors. What went wrong? It's kind of difficult to say. Like, Hungary in the Euros played a very similar style. So that first half that we saw, the drab first half, was very similar to the games that we saw against Germany, France and Portugal. Hungary didn't really show much attacking intent in any of them games, really, and kind of just were hoping for a draw. And then as soon as England scored in the game that we're talking about, Hungary's plan just unravelled really, and it was a little bit similar to when Hungary eventually conceded against Portugal. They held out for 82 minutes, and then as soon as the first one went in, Hungary just collapsed. And it was quite similar in this, but obviously England scored a lot earlier. So with 40 minutes to go or so, Hungary were trying to attack with no verve or no pattern and no quality. And every single time England went forward, then there was a lot more room to run into and a lot more space.
Yeah.
And England are just too good when you can't give them that kind of space. And that's the difference, I think, between this England side and the teams that we saw at the Euros. Even though they were very good, Portugal, Germany and France are very good teams, England were just a lot more incisive than all of those three, and just time and time again just picked them apart. And I think it was a bit of Hungary being worse than they usually are, but also a fact that maybe Hungary just got a bit lucky in the Euros, and playing against someone like England, it really just showed them up and probably showed just how good England are, to be honest.
I mean, because at the moment, the group, it's a bit of a three-way fight for second place. I mean, are the supporters, Hungarian people, are they still confident? Have they still got faith in the team? Because they must still be riding high on the emotions of the Euros, I'm sure, are they?
Kind of, but kind of not. This same thing happened 5 years ago when Hungary qualified for the last Euros and did pretty well at the last Euros, got to the last 16 there. And the first game back after the Euros, Hungary ended up drawing to the Faroe Islands. And it's very like the England game, not so much, because obviously they weren't expected to win or get a draw against England. It'd have been a surprise if they had. But then Hungary went and played Albania after England and were awful and deservedly lost. So it's almost like deja vu, really. And Hungarian people in general are very, this is just a fact, that they're very negative.
Right.
And I guess negative may be the wrong word. They're kind of never really confident in their own side and quite downbeat. And it's just because kind of what Hungarian society has been gone through for the last, since World War One, basically. So as soon as kind of these two results happen, the kind of the fanfare and all the delight of the summer has kind of dissipated pretty fast. And it's come to the head like, people are calling for the manager's head already. Not everyone. Like, there's obviously a lot of people saying, he's done some great work, and he has, and got Hungary to the Euros, put up a great fight at the Euros. But there is a lot of, especially after the Albania loss, and Hungary only just got past Andorra at home 2-1. There's not a lot of confidence in this side anymore, all of a sudden.
And you've actually got Albania. I think Albania is the first game for Hungary in this doubleheader. So, well, I mean, to go into the England game with any sort of confidence, you're going to have to be beating Albania and sort of trying to look into that second place. Yeah,
and I'm exactly the same as basically all the fans, to be honest. I've got no belief in this side anymore. I have none. I came on this podcast a month or so ago with loads of belief, thinking that Hungary might get a draw or a win. I would have been surprised if they had, but I didn't completely rule it out. But now, I think that score at Wembley could be anything. I really do. If England play to their best, which I think they'll put their best side and stuff, and Hungary play anything like they did in that game, it could have been 6 or 7, and I think England players will be very up for it after kind of the fan or the kind of not. Disgraces, I guess, we saw at the Puskás Arena. I think that England players will be really, really up for that game.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to just touch on those incidents. Obviously, there was the raining down of cans or sort of plastic glasses and scenes in the stands that we saw. I mean, I think we have to sort of say that it's not that whole stadium of people doing it, but there was a select part of the crowd that were doing it, which I found a bit surprising. I mean, perhaps I've had my head in the sand, but then there was also the issues during the Euros where Hungary have been fined by UEFA, haven't they?
Yeah, there's kind of just a segment of that of that crowd who kind of are ruling to themselves. Really, they just basically just do what they want. They're not, like you say, it's not the whole stadium. It's not even the whole ultra group, which is behind the stand. It's kind of just small fragments of the main ultra group. The main ultra group is ruled by what they call the Carpathian Brigade, but that whole ultra group is basically made up of different clubs. So I guess like England away supporters will be made up of West Ham fans, Millwall fans, Man United fans, whatever.
Yeah,
that's obviously the same case with the Hungarian fans, and some of these ultra groups that go to the games. You will see this kind of behaviour on a semi-regular basis at Hungarian club games, and just at the weekend, in bizarre kind of irony, a player at Ferencváros, the biggest club in Hungary, Mohamed Besic, who used to play in the Premier League for Everton and Sheffield United, he was welcomed back to the club this weekend, and it said in the crowd, "Welcome back, Momo." And then underneath that, there was a flag which said Aryan Ultras, like Aryan being obviously, as we kind of all know, like the blonde hair, blue eye kind of ideal of Adolf Hitler. And so that irony that a Muslim player was welcomed back by a segment of the fan base with an Aryan flag just draped below just kind of shows the fragmentation of Hungarian fandom, really. That, like, there is a certain segment who are deeply white nationalist and racist, whereas it's not the whole crowd. There is a certain, and there's a big majority which are quite liberal, but unfortunately that just spills over, and those minority voices make themselves heard.
Obviously UEFA and FIFA have put their own punishments into place, but does the Hungarian FA have they got any? Do they wield much power over the National League?
It's tough because, I mean, it shouldn't be tough.
No,
but it is, in the fact that the attendances in Hungary are really, really poor. They average about 3,000 at games, and for someone like Újpest and Honvéd, less so Ferencváros and Zalaegerszeg, loads of teams, about 60% of their fan base at least of the match-going attendance will be these ultras. So if you basically ban them carte blanche, you won't get any fans turning up to games. You'll get so few. Ferencváros actually did do this. They've carte blanche banned all their ultras, and obviously their attendance has suffered for ages. They can get away with it because they do have a wider fan base and an average a lot higher than the other attendances. But even then, they eventually succumbed. And Ferencváros ultras are a lot less hostile than they used to be, despite obviously an Aryan flag being waved at a lot of away games. But you don't really see much racial abuse at those games anymore, and it kind of has been stamped out a lot at that club. But elsewhere, it's really commonplace, and the league and the FA have a problem because, like I say, they can't really ban everyone because then they won't get people turning up to games, which is kind of the sad state of Hungarian domestic football at the moment, to be honest.
Rock and a hard place springs to mind there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hopefully that'll, in time, it will sort itself out. But just going back to the game at Wembley, it's Tuesday, the 12th of October. I don't even know if Hungarian fans are allowed access, to be honest. But the squad you've told me has been announced. I haven't seen it, I have to be honest. Is there anyone in there that we should be aware of, or anyone new from the last game?
No, it's very similar, to be honest. The kind of the big one for Hungary is Loic Nego, who is Hungary's best right back, is back in the team. Callum Styles, who sounds very English, and is very English. He's not in the squad, but he was asked by Marco Rossi if he wants to play for Hungary. He plays for Barnsley in the Championship, and he's recently declared that he might be interested in playing for Hungary. And he's not said yes yet, but it's hopeful that he'll be in the next squad, which will be quite cool. But yeah, no real big surprises. Szoboszlai is in there again, but I think I built Szoboszlai up on this podcast as well when he was absolutely shocking in the game against England and took 2 horrendous free kicks. And all of my mates were saying, "You've been talking about this Szoboszlai for so long, and look at what he did." So I got a lot of flack for that as well. But yeah, not too many surprises, to be honest. Yeah, like I said, I think the game will probably go very similar to how it did last time.
Are you yourself going?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
You are. Go on.
My mum, who is Hungarian as well, is going. Though I think after what happened in Budapest, she was less keen.
Right. Oh well, I'm pretty sure nothing like that will happen this time. Obviously, you write for HungarianFootball.com. Have you been out back to Hungary of lately? Obviously, with the restrictions to go into any games out there.
Unfortunately, not. No. It's very, very tough to get in. Actually, you kind of need to be going there for a big business or work reason. And when I wanted to go for the England game, and they wouldn't let me in. So yeah, I'm just having to wait until a better time, to be honest. But yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, well, hopefully that time will come soon, and you can get out there and lap it all up again. Where obviously we've said Hungarian football. You write for where on Twitter can we find you?
Yeah, it's Tomasz Mortimer without the H and with a Z.
Cool. I will link to that when we put this out on social media. Tomasz, thank you very much for your time as always, and yeah, maybe we'll speak again.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Now, Tuesday, the 28th of September, saw the passing of another of the 1966 World Cup winning squad, Roger Hunt. He was born on the 20th of July 1938 and would go on to play 34 times for England, scoring 18 times. He was the 803rd player to wear the Three Lions, making his debut against Austria at Wembley in a 3-1 win, April 1962. And like Dixie Dean, Stanley Matthews, Tom Finney, Stan Mortensen, Nat Lofthouse, Bobby Charlton and Jimmy Greaves, all before him, he too scored on his debut. And in amongst all those 18 goals were 3 important ones scored during the 1966 World Cup. There was 1 against Mexico and 2 against France, both in the group stage.
France held out till 5 minutes from half-time. Nobby Stiles, total engagement. Jimmy Greaves, Jackie Charlton, and a goal by Roger Hunt. In the second half, the second goal. A cross by Callahan, a header by Hunt.
And he would go on to make the last of his 34 appearances in a 1969 friendly at home to Romania. On the club front, whilst he wasn't a one-club man, he spent the majority of his career at Liverpool. Between 1958 and 1969, he played for the Reds, scoring 244 goals in 404 games. He was adored by the Kop, who crowned him Sir Roger, although he was never formally knighted. He did win the league twice and also the FA Cup. And after that, he went on to appear for Bolton Wanderers. Roger Hunt was 83 years old, and we send our condolences to his family and friends. Thank you very much for listening. As always, very much appreciated. Thank you too to Ivan Moure, the Andorran press manager, and also to Tomasz Mortimer from HungarianFootball.com. Don't forget the show is on all the usual social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. You can also find it on YouTube, which has the option for subtitles, should you know anyone who may find that helpful. The option's there. Now, if you are heading to Andorra, either with or without a ticket, enjoy it. Stay safe. I'm not going to deny I'm envious of you. The photos that I'll no doubt see online will frustrate me. But please do make sure you get behind the team, just as I will do from my front room. And then, of course, there is Hungary at Wembley a few days following that. Just on another note, you may remember last year, or was it the year before? I can't remember now. I'd done a series of England at the Euros, speaking with England fans who had followed England at European Championships over the years. You may be pleased to know I've now started chatting with a few who have followed England at the World Cup. That's right, we're going to do a series, England at the World Cup, hopefully for next year. If they all come off as planned, I really hope you're going to enjoy them. Anyway, that is something for next year. But next time around, we will, of course, be looking back on this latest international window. We'll be looking back on the games against Andorra and Hungary. I hope you can join me for those. So until then, cheers.